People always want to know why you should go see people that actually know what they're doing in this business. We had a contract come in the other day, and for folks who don't know, like in downtown Nashville, the infill builders, they're buying lots and splitting them in half and building 2 houses, and sometimes it's just an oversized lot, and they're keeping the old house on one and splitting off maybe the side yard or whatever, and they're going to build houses on that. So a contract came in, an investor client of mine came in, and he says, I'm going to buy the 100-foot side yard of this piece of property. The house is 150, the yard's 150 feet wide, and I'm buying the 100-foot. I'm going to put 2 lots there. We're going to leave the house on 50 acres and a 50-foot wide lot. Okay, no problem. Do the title search, get it back in. My searcher calls me and says, hey, there's a major problem here. I said, what's wrong? He's like, well, the seller you said who owns the 150-foot doesn't. She only owns the 50-foot. Come to find out that the 2 owners prior, the gentleman who owned, it was basically 3 lots, 3 50-foot lots that made up to 150, right? Mm-hmm. And the gentleman lost it at foreclosure. But when you look at the deeds, because the guy got it in 3 separate deeds, the only property he pledged for collateral for the mortgage was the house in the 50-foot lot. And to make it even more confusing, the gentleman who owned it in the late 90s, he combined all 3 parcels for tax purposes, but not the deeds. So what that means is if you have 10 parcels, you could change it and just where you're just paying taxes on 1 parcel, even though it's the same. So instead of writing 10 checks, you're writing 1 check for all 10 parcels, and that's what the guy did. And so she said when she had asked her real estate agent about it, the agent said, well, it's all underneath 1 tax parcel, so you must own it all. And so she didn't ask any other questions. And so I said, well, that's not what your deed says that you got. And she says, well, who looks at the deed? So the moral of the story is that you can't just assume you own something, okay? And so she assumed that's what she owned, and she's been paying taxes on it and done everything for the last 7 years.
So who owns it?
Wow.
The gentleman who never lost it at foreclosure.
Wow.
And
Christmas for him.
He doesn't know it. He may know it at this point in time that he still owns that lot now, but he does. And when people say, well, I've been paying taxes on it, can I claim adverse possession, which is where they would claim that they have a right to it. But adverse possession doesn't start till year 20. So you can't do that. The number one thing you should do is get a survey done. People don't like paying for surveys. We used to do them all the time. But at this point in time, it would have been very beneficial to her.
Several $1,000s worth savings beneficial.
And then secondly, she got bad advice from her agent. Instead of asking the title professional who handled it, I don't know if they could have answered the question, but at the end of the day, you should know what you're buying. So if somebody asked me that, I would sit down with the deeds, sit down with the plat maps.
But a mortgage survey would have solved that too.
But a mortgage survey would have solved that right out the gate.